I definitely not gonna leave you by yourself on this, you heard? Sagittarius full moon. This is a big deal because we're talking about themes of freedom. Understand things of freedom, right? But here's where I want us to have grounding. Here's where I want us to have a sober footing so that we don't fumble any balls. You know what I mean? Pause. And so the grounding that I want us to have is that freedom is not something you ask for. It's not something you beg for. It's not something that somebody else necessarily has the power to give you, because this deals with freedom from the spiritual core and it manifests outward into your reality. That is the truth of the human being altogether. Okay? Even with security, for example. Okay? Cancer, holding the codes of security. Sagittarius, the codes of freedom. But if we're thinking about security as in, I want to have a house, I want to have good income, I want a nice relationship, these different kind of things. Yo, you're cutting the weeds, but you're not pulling the roots. Okay? That's what infamous astrology is about. It's about getting at the root of everything. Let everybody out there, cut the weeds, trim down the bushes, or whatever. But let's get to the root so it can't grow back. If we're really dealing with things, let's get at the root. So what's the root of security? A positive connection with you and inner child. That's the root. And it branches outward just like a tree does and produces fruit in your life that manifests as experiences and circumstantial security. But it starts there. Knowing that it's something that you should have, and you think and you live in agreement with that fact, not violating that agreement. I should have security. Therefore, right? I'm not going to put myself in positions to where I will betray my wisdom, where I will betray my intuition, not listening to my intuition. I will make sure I move and maneuver in ways where I don't question my good conscience, but I consult my good conscience. That's how security manifests in our life, right there. Because security is not based on, okay, if I have this house, if I have this person, if I have this job. No, that's not security. Because you could lose all of those things. One thing I cannot lose if I'm focused is the commitment that I have to myself. Therefore, I will never sell my soul. I will never betray my inner child. Ultimately, what I do to my inner child, the relationship reality that I have with my inner child is going to project that in every relationship that I have. I neglect my inner child, I'm going to manifest negligence in a relationship. Abuse, I'm going to manifest abuse, somebody abusing me. Self-oppression, I'm going to manifest somebody oppressing me. Whatever the case may be. Same thing with freedom. What really keeps you free? What really keeps you free? You have to have the courage to be free. You have to have trust in your instincts to really remain free. You have to not put yourself in circumstances or positions that compromises your freedom. Buying your way into servitude, signing your way into servitude, begging your way into servitude. We especially do so out of desperation. Desperation. Think about freedom. Somebody has something that I need or I want, but I don't have it. I see a man walking with the chicken or a man walking with a fish. Every day he goes and he catches a chicken or he goes and catches a fish. I need a chicken. I need a fish. I need my protein, right? Now, mind you, freedom is something that we learn to keep from how we move through the wilderness, which is why it's all referred back to Sagittarius, the algorithm of the wilderness. Understand? So let's focus. He knows how to go and catch a fish. He knows how to go and catch a chicken. I don't know how to catch a fish. I don't know how to catch a chicken. So I need the security of knowing I have a square meal. And I want it to be convenient. I don't want to have to go and catch a chicken. I don't want to have to go and learn how to fish. So I'm going to make a deal with this guy. Hey, I'll do something for you if you give me a fish or a chicken. Oh, yeah, I got a few things to do. Oh, yeah. Right? And he's the one with the fish and the one with the chicken. So he has more leverage in the negotiation of the contract. I'm in a position of desperation. So, hey, I have a house to build. You come and work for me 8 hours a day. I'll give you a fish every day. One fish. Imagine that compared to exerting the same energy behind your own competence, wisdom, or experience in fishing. You can have 5 fish a day, 20. So the point that I'm making is the route to freedom is through the wilderness. We have to come out of captivity where there was a spirit of entitlement in us. Somebody was enabling us to feel entitled. Now, this is not only with the government, okay? We know that Section 8, SNAP benefits, EBT, and all these other things, DEI, affirmative act, everything is fucking crashed and gone, as it should be. That is, except for the elderly and, those who are not able-bodied. Yes, it should be that way. Tough fucking cookie. Self-determination is here. So what that does is it forces us back into the wilderness as a collective. And some would say, oh, this is a tragedy. Well, where did you hear this story before? Do we remember Moses? Right? And the key word that God used in the Bible, as well as in the Holy Quran, it was the same story narrated in the same way. But God or Allah told Moses, go to Pharaoh, go to Fir'aun, and tell him to let my people go. Isn't that to demand freedom? He didn't say ask. Let my people go. It's a demand. Even a warning. But those who were behind Moses, they fought Moses every inch of the way. They gave him a hard time. They were complaining as they went through the wilderness. Because out of captivity, out of the land of Egypt, where you had everything that you could imagine, okay? Think of New York City in its prime. That's Egypt. Think of LA in its prime. That's Egypt. Think of Hong Kong in its prime. That's Egypt back then. Okay? They have food stamps, EBT, SNAP benefits, Section 8, obviously. They had all that too. How else were they enslaved? They became dependent upon the resources, the system. And what did it do? It spoiled the instinct in them for self-preservation. It spoiled the instinct in them for self-determination. The Sagittarius full moon, yes, it is an offer for freedom through the cosmic forces. But that doesn't mean it's just given to you. The opportunity can manifest in, for example, I pray for freedom. And all of a sudden, let's say I'm no longer on food stamps. Let's say I'm no longer SNAP benefit. I no longer can have Section 8. I lost my job that I hated going to anyway. So on and so forth, right? So what it does is it forces you back into the wilderness, where you have to prime and awaken the instinct that used to preserve your freedom in the first place. Someone finds an eagle with a broken wing, a lion cub, or whatever the case may be. Even though they take it into the refuge, the wildlife, estate, to take care of the animal, the zoologists or biologists, they take care of the animals. They want to nurse it back to health, but they don't want to weaken its instincts, right? Because they have to let it go. It has to keep its instincts, its sense of self-preservation, its survival instinct. It has to have all of that to survive. If you were just throwing a carcass at a lion every day to eat, if you were just handing a fillet of salmon to an eagle every day to eat, when you release it back into the wilderness, it's not going to survive. When you set it free, it will meet its demise. So I say that to say, there's another way to look at things that happen in your life that may appear to be tragedies, misfortunes, downfalls, or problematic, but it could be part of what's encouraging ultimate freedom. Let's remember that accountability, it must go with freedom. Moses took the children of Israel through the wilderness, and ultimately he got, which arguably could be, the Ten Commandments. Of course, we would refer this to Saturn and Jupiter. Okay, he has two horns on his head, as you see depicted in this image of Moses. Okay, Saturn and Jupiter. So, if we really want freedom, we will only ruin ourselves if we don't have accountability with the freedom. We will only exploit ourselves while manipulating others if we don't have self-determination with the freedom. We also will sell ourselves to those who are free, who have such qualities. Look at feminists of United States America. Their wish is fulfilled with freedom and liberty. But the one piece that they forgot is accountability to go with the freedom. So it only turns into bondage all over again. Why? Through the moral and virtuous principle that they do not uphold through it. It becomes manipulation, exploitation, oppression, narcissism, passing of the buck. It's your fault that I'm like this. It's your fault that I'm like that. Just like the children of Israel did, following behind Moses, blaming him for every inconvenience, every discomfort, causing confusion and separation and division. We should turn around and just go back to Egypt. This was a stupid idea. That's what's coming if you're talking about freedom. And freedom can go across the threshold of many applications in life. You want to be free in a way that the next person doesn't want to be free, but the value is still the same. Do you know what you're asking for? And do you know what it's going to require of you to have it? Are you sure? Are you sure? Every story of freedom will have the same themes. There are giants in the land, but we are more than able to overcome. Yes, you can have freedom, but it doesn't mean that you're not the one who has to fight for it. If you don't fight for it, you won't know how to defend it. You won't know how to preserve it without victimizing yourself, without passing the buck, lacking accountability and respect, a weakness in the infrastructure of the self where you easily can subject yourself to another person's power as they exercise true freedom and you live out the illusion of freedom, only further oppressing yourself. As feminists, it's exactly what they did, became the same ones who they campaigned against. Follow the example and see it's not going to be free. You are more than able, but don't be delusional. You also are going to need relationships. You're going to need people who support you, who have your back, and who you also can support and reciprocate the same too. Community. It's not a single man or single woman's job to accomplish freedom. It's a collective effort. Mercury through Cancer is going to highlight all of the details of security that should catch our attention as we consult the oracle of the moon through Cancer in all of our endeavors. This is just a reminder that freedom should really be understood. The autonomy, self-determination, self-respect, the character, the fortitude, initiative, bearing the burden of freedom and accountability. It's not for the weak, but you are more than able.